Do we need Iran too much in what's going on in Iraq to put the screws to them too much in the nuclear negotiation? Have they become too much of our coalition partner in what's going on in Iraq?
If we're acting on that premise, we're acting on a very faulty premise. Yeah. They are not our friends, and their interest in Iraq and our interest are not in no way coincident. Yeah. Dave Petraeus, former commander in that region, actually wrote recently that the real problem in Iraq is not ISIS. The real problem in Iraq is Iran. And I think that's a pretty good assessment
fomenting
of the of the overall situation. Now, I will agree with you, John. I can't prove this, but I can connect more of the dots if I go with the premise that the Iranian deal has become such a lodestar in American security policy that it is affecting and infecting a whole bunch of other American decisions in Iraq, in Syria, and frankly, maybe even in the Ukraine and Russia, where we are foregoing things we might otherwise decide so as to keep the Iranian nuclear negotiations on track.
A price that's being paid to make that happen. What's the near-term game look like in Iraq and Syria? Near-term, say 5 years, over the next 5 years. Is it this bombing campaign with hoping that the Iraq military gets up to speed and elements in Syria get up to speed to the point where they can fight their own fight? Or is it something different that's driven by the need for ground troops?
Yeah, a near-term and a long-term answer, John. Near-term, I see coherence in American strategy in Iraq. I think it's under-resourced. I think our forces there are too constrained by some political guidance, the rules of engagement, as they're called. But I see coherence. I can see that strategy sufficiently resourced, getting us to a better place than today. I see no coherence in Syria. And it comes back partially to what you just described, the lack of any credible ground forces. We can punish ISIS, we can keep their heads down, but I don't see our current strategy as moving us forward to solve the situation. So that's the near term. We've got some work to do here.
Yeah.
Let me be very dark for the long term, John. All right? I think Iraq, Syria, and probably Lebanon really no longer exist, and they're not coming back. Now, one or another.
The artificial borders that
created 100 years ago.
Define these countries.
They were artificial. Yeah. They were kept in force by the external imposition of power, imperial, the byproduct of the Cold War, Arab autocrats. All those are gone, and now all the natural tensions there are bubbling out and, frankly, bubbling over. Look, Baghdad may keep some sort of representative seat down the street here at the United Nations, but as an effective unitary government, it's not going to happen. So these are really tectonic shifts that are taking place. And Richard Haass, up here at the Council on Foreign Relations in New York, has said this is kind of a 30 years war phenomenon. This is going to take a generation plus to shake out.
And it shakes out along tribal, ethnic, religious lines.
All those are important factors, John. But I think fundamentally, this shakes out along the primary fault line right now in the region, and that's Sunni Shia. Not tribal, not ethnic, not even Arab Kurd, not even moderate religious zealot. It shakes out Sunni Shia.